Thanks for joining us today anyway. So first of all, the gold trade. So we'll start with the last one, which we did earlier on, which was this big breakdown from price. And then we got the oversold here on the 5 minutes, also oversold on the 30-minute, and the reversal candle. So this has proved to be quite a successful strategy on the lower time frames when we talk about quick pullbacks. I mean, the rules are oversold, reversal candle, make sure that the 5-minute 20 is sort of far enough away, and it does tend to be pulled back to it. So quite happy with that. That was a very nice quick 33 pips total. And if we have a look at that on the slightly higher time frames, we're starting to get push up again now. I'm tempted to get back in, but I didn't want to push my luck for the day of almost 100 pips. So on the 30-minute, what we were seeing there earlier on was this big spike down, and then we started getting a reversal in price action, and then reached up to the top. This was the trade we'll break down in a minute. That was the first one, and the second one was again same move, pulled back down and then slowed, bit of exhaustion, and started reversing. And this was the move that we managed to capture. Now, if he was looking at this on just the 30 minutes, this just would have been a red candle like this one. You wouldn't have really been able to tell or have any sign it was going to turn around, which is why when looking at the kind of oversold and retracement quick trades, pull it back down to the lower time frames, and once you can see it pulling down, 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 you know, again, with some of these candles, they were looking quite tricky. It looked like it was going to turn around, and then it didn't. The aim was to pick that candle that had turned around properly, showed us a reversal, making sure that it's in this very bottom oversold region, and then turned around absolutely perfectly. Now, prior to that, the other trade we had was this action here. So this is where I actually took it from, I think it was 74 was my entry, up to 78. I'm going to check that so that I'll be precise. Yeah, 74.6. So we're looking on this 5 minute. It would have been around here somewhere. I knew it was on this once we broke this 20. So it would have been around here of this sort of candle here, taking the bit of spread into account. And then we got the push up to 78. And 78 was an area that I specifically said in the group chat that is where I was sort of targeting. Mainly just because we had plenty of sort of support in other areas here, but also the 200 million, the 1 hour 20 was coming down and was looking to head to that region, and I didn't want to try and push it past that. We'll take a look on the 30 minutes where things were at that time. This is where we'd had the big push down again, and it was just a pullback play, nothing more than that pullback play. But it just worked out very well today in both examples. So happy with that. I've been focusing a bit on gold. There was a couple of pound yen opportunities I've mentioned in the group about the 0.500 being key levels. We've rejected off that a couple of times now. I just bring that up. Much as I see this being temporary before pound sinks further, every time we got near the 500 region, we just spiked up from it. We could have taken advantage of that for 20 pips each time. 30 pips I think we could have pushed it for. But again, it's just been nice price action. Push down, gap down. The only thing that concerns me with this one is, as we see with the gold, and we've talked about gaps and stuff before, it always fills. So if we take gold as the example, because it has, this hasn't yet. So much as this candle has, there hasn't been a lot of price action. So it either means that it really is going to continue down, or we might get this quick pullback up. 142,500, that's a key area before sort of crashing out. Indices have pulled back today and then crashed. I'm going to show you a lovely trade that I caught on the FTSE yesterday, and where it now looks to be heading back down to. But here, see, this row gapped up and it's come back down, and it's been trading around this missed area, if you like. Still bullish. even the 4 hour 50s are above the 220s, above the 50. There's no reason to think that this is turning around. Definitely. We're now getting the 20 back across the 50, but I would like to see the 20 retested and the sort of 74, 75 region where we've got these spikes before we get any kind of meaningful turnaround. And as mentioned earlier, that sort of 64 to 68 region was of interest, and I'll show you why from the 4 hour. Is this. So that because we're in prices and areas that we haven't had access to in a long time, we can only go on recent price action, and there's several attempts to break up past sort of 67 which failed, so it was only natural it's going to come back, retest the back of this area before any continuation. And I like the fact that it turned around and pulled back. If we get the fibs on this, I'm curious to see. Looks like it's holding above sort of 50, but we're gonna see right now. So yeah, well, above the 61.8. So it's looking good just for a sort of continuation move to the upside. I think if we do get pushed back above the 4 hour 20 and hold, we're going to push that 75, and then after that we'll see what happens. If it breaks back down from here, then since we look at the shorts, but if we do get pushed back above and retest, then we have to jump back in long. I'll always be keeping my eye out for the low time frame overbought and oversold, just because that's been proving to be quite profitable. I think we're going to just get push above this 50, retest it, and probably hit up here within the next hour or so. So let's see what it does in the coming hour. But yeah, it could have been a good buy to enter again, but wasn't completely oversold, so I didn't want to push my luck. I'm going to take you through the FTSE. Before I do, anything there on gold you want me to just run back over, or questions on those trades? Oh, just send this message on the close of that candle. So once I've seen that closed, I'd entered long at that point. Just for that closed, I mean, it actually ticked down a little bit. It's around here, so got in and then pushed it all the way up to the 20, which actually hit perfectly on ETX. I don't know, you look at that, and that was my exit. But yeah, on the close of the bullish, always wait to see that bullish one, and always, because let's just take this as an example. Let's move this up so we can make it a bit clearer. Just because it's just reached kind of oversold like we're seeing here, at that point was this candle. So you could have ended up buying in where we are now around sort of 71, and been stuck. So that would have given you sort of 40 pips more to go. So always be patient, wait for the reversal candle, and especially in these kind of extreme regions, that gives us a very good signal. We're going to get the turnaround. Don't be afraid if it does turn around a little bit more on you. I'm generally doing 20 pip stops and 20 pip target minimum if I can push it for 40. Just depends on how quick it moves up to hit the EMA, but when it hits that 5 minute 20, that's my exit. No matter what the number of pips are, because I haven't seen it actually break that from this strategy. It normally always pulls to it and comes back away. So so far that's where my confidence is with pushing it. But yeah, stick to those rules. It's running at a good hit rate. I mean, I haven't actually gone back and checked over the data, but I would probably say as far as 7 to 80%. It's been pretty accurate. So I'm liking it. Now on the FTSE, it was a similar thing yesterday, but let's come out of it because I want you to see the whole picture here. Now what we got yesterday was this massive breakdown, clear reversal candle, and broke down. Now it was this one thing being, even on the 4 hour was oversold. 30 minutes was oversold, and we were stuck at 7,400. So quite a key area, which I'm going to have to change the time frame quickly. Quite a key area to want to turn around from. So if we take a look here, we've got plenty of, we've got spikes here, spikes here, spikes here. It's all around this 7,400 region. So plenty of reason for it to turn around, and because it had pulled back so deeply, I was fully expecting us to hit this 7,500. Now, my dad is looking at cashing his pension and doing some trading for himself because he's not going to get the returns, and with the new changes means that he's going to have to take more than he would want, and therefore needs higher return. And he always likes looking at the FTSE, and we've been talking about trading. And yesterday, he was at Friday over the weekend when I saw him, he's at the mindset that Monday on opening sort of going to move up, and obviously it sort of just massively kept down. I explained my reasons for thinking why, and yesterday morning when we were talking about it, I said, well, this is where I'm going to buy, and I'm going to look to make it, push back up from. I actually only took sort of 40 pips out of this at the time, but the move I was anticipating, which I messaged him about, was 7,500, which, as we can see, has been a clear support area, now turned resistance. So very likely we're going to see further push down over to the downside, maybe all the way down to 7,200. There'll be some stops in the middle, of course, but that could likely be where it is. I know we're essentially leaving the EU on Friday, but it's obvious the markets aren't sure where to take that. I think the coronavirus has obviously had a big impact on stocks and performance of companies, which is why like the Dow and the FTSE and the DAX has dropped, which is why it's been good for gold. But I think it'll probably continue with sort of economic concerns and uncertainty of what's going to happen after Brexit, because we're still a little bit in the dark of what any plans are. So until there is any certainty and we start seeing what happens over the next couple of months, I think we could see a bit more downturn in the pound and the FTSE, and a bit more strength in gold. So fully expecting really to see this next leg of 1610 come back into play, and price action playing around up here before making its mind up on whether we're going to break further above or not. But yeah, so that's the reasons why fundamentally and technically. And as you can see, if we look at the 4 hour, we're pretty much made it there. We've been stopped by the 4 hour 20, and it's just started to turn around. So if we have a look on the daily, it's pulled back up to the daily 50, and I think it's looking good for shorts from here. So be very wary if you are going to look to take any longs in the FTSE. But anyway, that's the analysis there. One I wanted to point out that we looked at earlier in the month was the Aussies. So what happened was this breakdown, and it was the push back up. What we were sort of looking at around here, I was looking for this to be retested and pushed back up, which we got. Since then, it's further broken down so much that it's created a new lower low, and we've got a key sort of resistance area up here at 76. And I see this, after today it's been oversold. We've got reversal candle. Very much expect tomorrow to see this push up. How far, I'm not sure. It'd be nice if we can get to the daily 50 EMA. It'll probably be a few days, but somewhere around 74.5. That would give us a great cause for a longer term short. But that also coincides with other yen crosses, which is a strong yen and will be strong gold. So bear that in mind as well. There isn't much else in, daily 50 hanging broken below, so maybe push back up to 142 again tomorrow before plummeting down. 140.7, this key area we've seen many times. 141.9, I suppose. Even here, between 141.05 and 140.7 is going to be a really nice zone to look for buys from. And let's see what price does there. But I'm not really interested in just jumping in. No reason, especially this late in the week. Tomorrow we've got FOMC and dollar news, and we've got rates and stuff for the pound on Thursday as well. So a lot of news and stuff going on, and then the final Brexit move. So just be wary with the pounds. Before I have a sort of scan through, let's have that question. Yes, and I'll tell you the main reason why I find the RSI effect on gold is I've completely customised it and adjusted it to suit the gold movements. So that's why, as much as it is on other currencies and commodities, I've completely fine-tuned this to give me the best possible scenarios for gold purely. So just to give me the highest chance of it having a higher success rate. So that's why I tend to only go off that kind of trade when it's showing me the signals on gold. But if you was to adjust the RSI to, let's just say you like the FTSE or you like the pound yen, if you adjusted the RSI to suit that better, you could certainly just work off of that and run that way. But yeah, I like trading gold. I'm quite in tune with gold, and so I tend to just leave it with that. I have mine set at 8 close, and yes, 80 and 20. Correct. So you can adjust it, I think you've got your trading view as well in your settings by changing the lengths of the source. But yeah, I find 8 works the best, just because then I'm getting when it's really coming out to be oversold or overbought, it is giving me a sort of turnaround, so it has been quite effective with gold. So, I mean, you could look at this on FTSE, and I'm sure it will give us some basic to trade off of, but I just haven't really tested it effectively to say. I mean, here, obviously, here's given me oversold, and it pushed on a lot more again and again and again. And here, when it's actually really high, it's actually not showing me as being oversold, so overbought. Sorry. So that, for me, I would want to adjust that to be more meaningful. And here, when we've had these spikes down, it's not quite gone in the oversold region, and here neither before it's shown any turnaround. So that's why you need to adjust it to each thing. I mean, if you look here, this price action here is when it's saying it's overbought, and it hardly did anything. So again, these actions are where I would really need to you want to fine tune it to. Take the pound as an example. Let's have a look at pound. Excuse me. I mean, again, this is fairly accurate, in honesty. Yeah, I mean, could have gone off these ones, but I mean, in the strategy, you would have been caught out by these, unless you just happy with your 10 pips. And the other thing that I tend to do, so just to bring up gold so that I'll keep it relative, as you'll see of what I put in the messages earlier, because I wanted people to see exactly what I was doing and my management and everything, is that I bought here, and as soon as we started moving, it's almost 20 pips ahead, I moved the stock to break even, just in case it come and crash back down. So I've been really protective of my funds, I'm not giving anything away. And it turns around, stops me out, carries on going, well, that's just the way it is. So I have had quite a few break-even trades from it, but all in all, it does tend to push up to the 20 once we get this. So yeah, just bear that in mind as well, that you can be, once you see that sort of 20 pips, I like to protect profits, and you can try and move that stock and not give anything back. And if you don't like what it does, You know, e.g. like this candle, if you don't like that and you've got, you know, 20 pips of profit, you can bag the 20 pips. You know, each time it's just 20 to 40 pip target. You know, even if the EMA, even if it takes a long time, the EMA is just there and I'm 15 pips up and it hits it, I'm going to cash out on 15 pips. I'm not going to give anything away and be greedy. Like I say, I'm yet to see it push above the 5-minute 20 from this strategy. Is there anything that you had your eye on last week, or anything you want me to cover over now, or go back over from what we've done before I have a little run through? There's a couple of trades, not that I trade oil, but I am seeing that we are about to have a nice pullback in oil. I'm just going to keep on here for a moment because it's not actually notifying me when you put any messages in. So okay. Well, if you're happy with that, then I shall push on. Now we'll head to the daily. Now I see both US and UK oil. We had the gap down. It's well oversold, and we're sort of getting reversal candles. So what I'm looking for tomorrow is to see another candle push to the upside. In the next day, I'll consider taking a long and trying to push it up to this sort of area, 64. That would be my trade. I mean, as you can see here, if you look down the 4 hour, I've had to push down. It's really slowed down, consolidated, and then pushed up to signal the start of the upward move. Again, nice oversold signal on the RSI. But yeah, that's what I'd like to see. Tomorrow I want to see that push up, and then look for longs continuation. As I say, I don't really trade oil, but if I did, that is what I would be looking at. Okay, great stuff. So have a look at the other indices. Dow rejected daily 50 yesterday, and then it's pushed to the upside today. But I think we'll probably, might reach around this daily 20 and then push back down. DAX is a bit similar. They're both above the 50 compared to the FTSE, which is below. The FTSE hasn't actually moved as much pip-wise, but percentage-wise it has, because it's the smallest numerical value of the indices. Aussie yen we've covered. As I say, that again, I'm looking to see this continue turning around tomorrow. This will be a standard IVO strategy, where we're going to get the break and retest of the 1 hour being the first sign of it actually pulling back. So again, look for that push up on the 1 hour, pull back, and then continuation up to the sort of 4 hour 50, which is up here 74.7. So probably end up around 74, 4 to 5 by the time the move sort of happens. But that's what I expect to see in the coming days. So definitely a trade that you want to keep an eye on. Tomorrow we get that break and retest of the 1 hour. Tomorrow or the next day, that is going to be a good opportunity to capture some pips. Let's just work out exactly how many that could be. So let's just say by the time we move back up, let's call it 74. And let's say that's going to be about 6 to 5. So you're looking at a good 50 to 60 pip move. So it could be a strong move. Keep your eye on that. Which have not seen anything there. Aussie dollar, again, we are sort of in a key area. I mean, there's a bit of support here. 67642, which is broke below, but we've hit dead 67400, and so that is the bottom of all this noise, and a few other hits along the way. So again, could see a reversal coming here once we get squeezed up. Break retest for 1 hour again, exactly the same trade. Not sure if I'd want to be in 2 Aussie pairs, just in case one doesn't work out, then the other's not going to either, frankly. So pick a favourite. I would favour Aussie yen, just because past experience told me that the yen crosses play out better to those strategies. But do bear that in mind. Looking similar, but not too much interest. Euros, I think much as we might be getting a little bit of a pullback, just overall massively bearish. I think they're really of interest your NZD since day 50. So interesting here. And this CAD, I mean this I see just coming a bit further down. Sanjo, I think was in the trade here. I'm not sure if he's still long Euro CAD. But yeah, certainly see, we rejected the daily 50, so I said I wouldn't want to be pushing it past it, and now it's broken back down, and very likely going to continue to lower lows. Look at Euro yen. Yeah, Euro yen's looking similar as well. But yeah, favouring the Aussie out of all of those. Yeah, so the pounds are just looking fairly weak. Pound Aussie is an interesting one. It seems to always sort of outperform the others, and it moved sort of almost dead opposite to pound yen, whereas you can see the pound has been weak across the yen but strong against the Aussie dollar. So depending what one you like, there's a bit of volatility in those. And CAD as well. I mean, this is broken, pulled back and tested the 20 here, and this little area where we have got some supports and resistance. I mean, that would be quite a nice opportunity for a long right there. Let's have a look at the pips, see where that is. Yeah, for the 50s at 61.8, pretty much bang on there. So yeah, I think long term this could be a good trade back up to these highs. So well over 100 pips potentially there. Just being in the pounds, and we've broken below this 4 hour 50. Yeah, this may continue lower, but it would be nice to see if we do get a push down a little bit lower to just hit that daily 50. I think could be worth risking if we do get that hit on it. Because you could have your stop, you could do sort of 50 pip stop and looking for over 100 pips, so it's still 2 to 1. Could prove a nice risk reward. And Jim covered, getting that 140.7 region. See, pound NZD is done similar to what I'd like to see on pound CAD, where it's pushed up, pulled back to the 50, and then back up to the highs. So that is what I would be interested in seeing happen in pound CAD. See if that happens. Dollar CAD rejecting the daily 200. So let's have a look on the week and the monthly and just see. It says rejecting the weekly 50. Month looks strong, I guess. Yeah, a bit. It's not showing consistency throughout. So not something much as we could say this is going to pull back down a bit further. You know, might be able to get some pips out of it. The risk reward isn't really there for me with that one. Nice reversal candle there. Nice little $4 pushing up. In the dollar chart. Nice reversal candle, but stay away from it. GB yen. Yeah, see, this just doesn't look as good as Aussie yen, etc. For example, you know, we're getting a kind of reversal candle. We'd have to see how it closes out tonight, but we're below the daily 200. There's not the same amount of room up to the daily 50. It just doesn't look as good. Definitely Aussie yen being the best option there, in my opinion. The CAD yen's looking good. Shame didn't spot this today. Some key resistance area. And it did reject, push back above the 200, but yeah. So again, it's closer. There's not as much room for us to find a trade there. So Aussie yen for me is the preferred if I was going to look at any of those trades. Got futures, S&P, just means the same as the Dow effectively. Okay. Well, that's it in terms of what we see. So I think it's only really the Aussie yens, the indices showing any kind of interest. Any questions about anything there, or anything you want me to just take a look at? Have you taken down a note of the pairs you have an interest in? Not really. I mean, yes and no. I mean, if this was a lot closer together, I would be, you know, more inclined to say, yeah, there's definitely something like double top. But I think where that we've got such a push up, much as the spikes have been pretty much bang on, it's the close has stayed higher. It's been a much stronger close. Then we're just getting this pullback before likely continuation. Put this here. The 69 is the 50 mark, and what we've seen it pull back to today. We've stayed above the 20. 4 hour looks like we're just going to we've stayed above that 70 mark. We're going to push back above and continue. And I'll say the 75 I expect to come in first and foremost, really. We'll see what happens once that level gets reached or reversed from. It would have been nice to get to this 4 hour 50, but you know it's almost perfectly just bang straight down to the what would have been resistance now turned support, and it's reacted well off of that. So yeah, quite keen to see it continue going along. But all these spikes, all this, you know, again, there's been a lot of movement to the downside. Do expect to see some kind of retracement. I mean, maybe up to 80, then maybe we'll fall down further. Either way, you know, we just have to take what we see as being expensive and cheap in prices as they come along, and try and take advantage of that where we can. We've done a nice little CBO. The classics of a break and retest of the 4 hour. It's done nicely. Bitcoin, we've done the same thing. Yeah, not quite. Didn't give an entry. Straight back up to when we had key resistance though. Seems to have topped out and turning back around. So let's see what it does. Silver had a lot worse of a day than anything else, but it always does for some reason. It has a worse effect. But again, just look how oversold it is. I mean, it's certainly due a pullback. Slightly up to this 71 region. Nice to see it back up above 18 for continuation to the upside. But let's see. I think it's got a chance. Are we going to reach 2.6 where the 4 hour 20 is? Maybe. So what is your game plan as of tomorrow for down the charts? 5 lines up in 1 hour 50. Top of those candles. Tend to see it at 6, 7 o'clock. You see it very often where price decides to continue on its way, just exiting and taking profits. Could probably short take profits, and that's turning around. But I can't see this continuing further down before we've tested this 75 region. See if there's any news cropped up. Nothing extravagant. So just to recap on the news, as I mentioned, they've got CLZ CPIs, UK inventories, US FOMC, federal funds rate and press conference tomorrow evening. So definitely want to be keeping an eye on it for them, and maybe take positions on news depending what it is. Thursday we've got lots of UK news. So we're talking about the rate news. Fridays are really important. Nothing too important on Friday. So yeah, tomorrow, Thursday, the days to look out for. Always good to be aware of what's happening. Yeah, perfect. Perfect. Yeah, I mean, just to recap on those rules. Really doesn't matter what time frame you're on. A minute. I'm obviously using the 5 minutes working best on there because you get the most. You can clearly see if there's an exhaustion and starting to slow down and turn around, as I sort of showed earlier on the 30 minutes. You couldn't see that this was looking like it was going to turn around, whereas if we do dive down lower, and you're good at reading price action and the charts, then you'll be able to see from this that there is potentially a turnaround. So this is why we wait for that to happen. But as long as don't worry too much about the 50 and the 200 in this instance, as long as the higher time frames, the trend is still bullish or bearish, try and keep with the trend, then yeah, and just make sure you've got a gap between it. I mean, at this point the EMA was up here at 72, and the entry was at 68. You know, there's 40 pips run up to it effectively, and that's what you want. You want a nice gap, because then as it's coming down, you know, we're going to end up with 20 to 40 pips, and that's what we want to achieve every time. It may be as well, so sort of similar to here, there is this bit of what forms support becoming resistance, so just bear that in mind as well. You know, just make a mental note. If you can see there's some consolidation there that lines up with the EMA, then very likely it's going to turn around. I mean, we're just back now to the sort of price where it was earlier, so yes, much as we now push back up, and this is probably going to push up that 75 now, as we've discussed. Just bear that in mind. You know, don't get greedy, don't push it. You know, if you reach consistency with this kind of strategy and you're happy with it and that suits you, I mean, what I like about it is I can just look at it whenever, and if there is an opportunity, then great. And I always use the 4 hour for reference as well. I like to have a look on the 4 hour and just see if there's support and resistance, and where anything is that I'm going to have that higher time frame confidence to back me up. So you know, do use multiple time frames. Make the most of the tools that we have, and give yourself the best chance of profitable trades. Like I say, if it starts moving in the right direction, don't be afraid to move that stop loss to break even, and don't be afraid to bank, because that is the trick. But earlier on, as in the group, I expected it to hit up to sort of 78, and it was bang on, absolutely perfect. So it was a little bit of good analysis, a little bit of luck, but yeah, that's why I was very happy to come out there and know that there wasn't any chance that I could have had more. And Thursday, I go to California, Thursday morning. So yeah, heading off about 8 AM our time, and I'll be landing there about 4 o'clock in the afternoon their time. So it's going to be a long first day. I will still be trading, I'll still be on the charts, and I will aim to still do webinar next week and the week after. Because it'll be a sort of afternoon time for me, so hopefully I'll be somewhere where I can be perched and keep active. But yeah, my times will be a little bit later, and I might miss a few bit of questions and stuff and move to you guys see earlier on, because I'm not planning on getting up at a silly o'clock to catch anything. I will try and be accustomed to the New York session time and see how that goes. But yeah. Yeah, if we do see anything tomorrow, I'll be quicker responding. But yeah, anything even one other way, don't be afraid to chuck it in the group or send over directly, and I will always be on hand to answer. Okay, good stuff. I think the last sort of few minutes and stuff there. Anything you want to go over specifically, or how's things psychologically, trading wise? How is the account doing at the moment? Remember, you only get about 1% a year from the bank, so whatever more you do than that is happy days. I think this is probably going to test this 5 minute 20 once more as it gets a bit closer, and then we're going to push. Yes, $11 is still down on the day, so expect a bit more recovery. Even tomorrow, I mean, we might push up sort of $5-6 pips, and then see where it goes. But around this price action is sort of teeing up perfectly for that push back up to sort of 75 before any move up or down. Yeah, good work. Well, you know, something I always see is that if it's a break-even trade or profitable, but you know perhaps not as profitable as you thought, as you wanted to achieve, that's still a win, because let's just say your stop was 20 pips and you cut it at 10, you basically just still won 10 pips. You still would have had to do another trade to make that difference up. So that's good. Now 5 trades is a good number. You know, one a day. There's, you know, I must admit it's not every day that trading, and some days are quiet, but most days I tend to get a couple of trades in. But yeah, you know, sometimes I do a third if I've done a win and a loss, and I'm sort of at break even. I'll do a third, or if I've had 2 wins and I'm feeling a bit lucky and I don't want giving a few pips back, then I will take the third one. But you know, I tend to keep my 20 to 40 pips for the day, and it keeps me happy. So that's good, very good. So it was 3 winners and 2 losses, was it? And how about analysis and things? You're feeling quite good. Good. Well, that's a good result. You're feeling quite confident and happy with your analysis and how you're doing the charts. I mean, the results speak for themselves. Obviously, things are clicking and you're doing well. So, kudos on that. Must admit, yeah, patience is key, because whether it's, you know, patience to let it run or patience before you get in, patience plays a big part of it. You know, much as we all know that this could be a continuing bull run, getting in up here and then watching it go all the way down here before, you know, and then being patient and actually getting in at a prime position is far more powerful. We can see you've got a nice double bottom broken out of the wedge, and then you get that push up. And patience is what prevails. You know, even if you're doing less trades, that's, you know, I could have theoretically got back in here again as we did earlier, but didn't really want to push my luck. And yeah, you're always going to get a better price if you're patient. It doesn't matter what end of the spectrum that is. Everybody noticed I've tried not just giving away too many signals and putting in the group exactly what I'm doing. I've done a little bit today because I want people to, you know, see some success and get a bit active on it, and hopefully, you know, make some money from it. But yeah, I think the ball Christopher probably hand feeding everyone a little bit too much, and you know, I want everyone to be able to analyse themselves and make their own sort of mistakes and wins. That's key for me. I want everyone to make a success of it themselves. We sort of got that retest again of the 20, so see if it does give us that push up. Yeah, I think there's quite a few interesting positions to be had on the LCN, and so, you know, the indices and gold. I mean, gold, like I say, just looking at the 1 hours and the 4 hours, are certainly in need of a pullback before any downward movement again. So consolidated around some support. So yeah, see if we can get it to push up to the 1 hour 50 and look 50.75 region. I mean, even 74. I mean, not being too greedy with it would be a good target. But yeah, if we can squeeze 20 pips once we get the confirmation, the push up. Then yeah, we'll try and take advantage. Well, thanks for tuning in. If there is nothing else, then I shall bid you good evening. No, you're very welcome, and yeah, happy pip hunting tomorrow, and let's try and catch up with you together. But otherwise, have a good evening, and I'll speak to you tomorrow. All the best.